Streaming to you live. Good morning, Briny. Streaming to you live from the Jack Taylor studio here in Briny Breezes. It's January 30th, and welcome to the Sullivan Show. We have a special guest today, the Faulkners, who are going to talk about photography and all sorts of things. And they're going to be the big speakers tomorrow night at the Travel Club that people have been talking about, those who know that they're going to speak. It's 53 degrees, but I think out here on the Barrier Island might be a little chillier. We may approach 70. We hope so. Well, it's the closing out January. It was a heck of a last week, I tell you that. We had the boating and fishing dinner. We had the New York, New Jersey dinner dance with Back in Time, the same band they've had now for 5 years. And they're certainly the most popular, or one of the most popular that play here at Briny. We had the hot dog luncheon. It was terrific, great social event. And of course, yesterday in the rain and cold, we had the BBC 8 party. Attendance was slightly down, but we had a lot of fun. And I had quite a gimmick there. Gene Adams took pictures throughout the park, and you had to identify where they were in the park. And it wound up being quite a lot of fun. The winner of guessing the most was, of course, our own president, Ted Gross. Congratulations, Ted. The applause was deafening. This week, another big week here. We have bingo, of course, tonight. Tomorrow morning, there is a board meeting at 9 o'clock, board of directors meeting. And it's going to first start with the ballot, then the budget, and then they're going to go into the green sheet. Those are the topics at the various times. There wasn't a write-up in the Bugle. It just gave you the time at 9 o'clock. So and of course there's an agenda posted as always, but that's what that's all about. Wednesday we have Beach Club. Tomorrow night, of course, is the big night. The Faulkners are going to be at the Travel Club, 6:30. And it's free, another good time at Briny. But the big event of the week is, without question, our biggest event of the year, the Charity Bazaar. I know half of the park has already signed up to work on it, and hopefully we'll have great weather, and we'll have great bargains, and we'll raise a lot of money for charity and ourselves, and also there's lunch. I think lunch starts at 11 this year, as I look at this. Not too bad. So without further ado, welcome the Faulkners. It's Jan, or Janet, and Dennis.
Yes.
And they are on E-row, are you?
E4.
E4?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, Briny, but they're not full-timers here. They still do that thing called work. Yeah, that's that part. But Janice is already famous because she has a brother and a sister in the park, Marge Klein and Andy Newwriter, that guy, our musical talent. So good to see you.
I am very impressed that you pronounced Newwriter correctly.
Oh, it's taken me a long time. We call them other things as well. So where are you folks from? Dennis,
we're from Oregon.
You're from Oregon,
but
it's a big state.
We got there in different ways.
Oh.
Dan came from one direction, I came from another direction. I came from the south in California where I was raised.
Oh, what part of California?
San Luis Obispo.
Oh, okay. With the eucalyptus trees.
You got it. We had one in our yard, about 8 feet in diameter.
Wow, that's hardly south. My son lives in Marina Del Rey, so
okay.
That's the real south, more southern. And you are an Illinois girl, I think?
I am from Central Illinois.
Central Illinois. That's really Indiana, isn't it?
Of the world of soybeans. Yes. Decatur, Illinois. So yes.
Oh, Decatur. All right. Well, welcome. How did you guys find Briny? Well, I know how you found it, Dennis, but Janet, how did you find Briny?
I was absolutely fortunate. There's not a person in our family that doesn't say Briny is the best. It's just wonderful. Our Aunt Anita, came down with her husband Clarence and lived right across from the clubhouse. And as soon as she visited, she called everybody and we all came to visit, and then my mom and dad stayed here, my grandmother stayed here,
Wow.
and now we finally, this is the first time that we've been here more than a week.
Oh, really?
It's awesome.
Absolutely.
It's
And
very
do you
nice.
enjoy it as well, Dennis?
I love it. It's great.
Well, it's sort of a tradition. Everybody who finds it says, wow, if as soon as they like it, they like it. So we're going to play a little clip now. Is that to introduce the clip? Because this is what Dennis does, some of the stuff he does.
Well, this particular show is called Our National Parks, and it was done for PBS as a pledge special to raise money for the National Park System, and it's really a tribute to the national parks and the beauty and the scenery of the parks, as well as the people who have influenced the development of the parks and got something back from the park. We all get something from the parks when we go there. So
right.
what we're going to see is going to be sunrise to sunset.
Oh, okay. Cue the clip.
And this is filmed over about 15 years of time. So it was quite a
Just
task.
before
And,
dawn,
you know, PBS
there is a
aired it
moment.
nationally.
A
it was done through
transforming
Oregon
moment.
Broadcasting.
when the
And there you see
world
the first
holds
little-
its breath and a new day is born.
Well, you know, it's interesting that sunrise, near sunrise, is every bit as spectacular as the sunrise in Cadillac Mountain. This is an introduction to photography. We're going to be traveling from one coast to the other coast.
Did you film
I don't know, yes. That was the bear. That was the Katmai National Park. We go all the way to Maui and Pacific Islands.
The life cycle is
And, of
renewed.
course, Everglades is
In the
prominent
wilderness,
piece.
deeper than tooth and claw, is a core of inner peace. In the wilderness, as preserved in our national parks, we can discover our connection with the natural world. Join us as we follow the sun from Maine to Maui across America's national parks.
We're going to begin our journey in Acadia National Park, the Maine.
Where's that for sunset?
That is the sunrise.
Sunrise.
Yes. So we're going to follow the sun from morning to dawn. Okay.
Well, that just gives you a smattering, folks. National Park.
There we are.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
So I'll show you. And what is this called? Dennis?
This is the best thing the U.S. government has ever provided its citizens. This is a pass to the national parks. It is for seniors. It's a senior pass. And you will find that this pass will take you into every national forest, every national park, every place that you want to go in a federal system. You can get in there for free for life once you sign up for this. And there's not a better deal to be found in the United States.
I have heard about this, but I do not own one. And as a senior, and a few of you people are, it's a great price.
It's a fantastic price.
And you've been to a lot of national parks.
We've been to all of the national parks, all 59 of them.
The collective we, I mean, Janice goes too?
Janice always goes.
Yeah, our whole family. We took
Yeah.
the kids. They lived in the national
Oh, we
parks. So.
better give the kids a plug. What are this? You have children, eh?
Well, they're getting pretty big. So yeah. So when they
A
were
boy
young,
and a girl? What do you?
Oh yeah, we have 2 girls and a boy.
Oh, very nice.
And when he started on this great passion, we got a camper, and so the kids were babies, threw them in there, and we just lived on the road and camped from park to park. So.
Wow. Well, you've been doing this a long time then.
Have been doing it since the 80s, yes.
Where's your desk? I mean, you got to sit it
The
behind
desk
the desk.
is on the road. We do have editing equipment, much like your room in there, but no, much of our time is spent on the road.
How did you get into this field?
I've always been interested in photography. I started in high school, had yearbook photographer, newspaper photographer, went on in college, etc. And always thought I'd be a lawyer, and went to law school for a week and said that wasn't going to cut it.
Well, then you made a great decision. I mean, I love being a lawyer. As you don't know it, but I am a lawyer. But the people who dropped out, that was the right thing to do. If it's not for you, and that's what all professions are like that. In fact, one of the fellows who dropped out is still a friend of mine, and he became a sort of a renowned physician. But it's really amazing how people. Once you get to graduate school or law school or med school, you then really get a feel more than you do when you're in college and are maybe more idealistic. So,
and I also went off into the Peace Corps for a number of years in Africa, and that kind of solidified my desire to kind of see the world, explore, and not just sit behind a desk.
Well, that's fascinating. Whereabouts?
I was in Kenya, Africa.
Kenya?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Jan and Andy have also been to Kenya as well.
Yes.
But not in the Peace Corps.
Not in the Peace Corps. My big brother called up and said, I want to go camping. You want to go camping? And he knew I loved to camp. And I said, okay. And then he says, well, we're camping in Africa. And I'm like, okay.
See,
So we went on this was way back when, 30-day safari. And it was 30 days of no bathtub and camping over the fire, so
Wow,
cooking and camping. So it was
Actually,
unbelievable.
Betsy and I are going to South Africa next month, April.
You'll love it. Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, our son-in-law is from Zimbabwe, so
Okay.
he's our guide. So we're taking out extra life insurance. So,
well, we're envious of you because that'll be a good, wonderful experience.
so how do you folks meet?
Well, so it's going to be a sample of what you're seeing on Tuesday evening. It's called a travel log, and I'm sure a lot of folks in Briny helped support these. Service clubs would invite a guest speaker to town to show a film on an area they'd like to visit, and it's called the Travel Log Series. And so he happened to come to Decatur, Illinois, and my mom needed somebody to go with, so we went to his show. And then I worked at a nature park, and he became friends with everybody at the nature park. And
So
anyway.
Africa's more comfortable than Decatur, Illinois. Well, that's a great. What time? You were in the '60s in the Peace Corps or '70s?
I was in the late 60s and the early 70s, yes.
It was booming then.
Well, it was not only booming, but it was a fascinating time to be in the world. I mean, we were in Kenya just after independence. I was able to watch the transition from the British rule from the colonial period to the independence period. It was fascinating.
The early Peace Corps, I knew a lot of them, and and I lived overseas myself, so it had a sense of adventure that few people, find. It's you wind up with a great group of people, and the Peace Corps was I think it still is. My neighbor was in the Peace Corps 10 years ago, but.
Well, it's a little different today, because today, I mean, when we went off there, we would go into a village or wherever we were stationed, and you might write a letter home on aerogram. Remember those blue pieces of flimsy paper? And you might get 1 or 2 back in the year, and that was your contact.
In the year, yeah.
And now you get a cell phone, and you call. My daughter called me from India to say, "Dad, what do I do?"
Yes, times have changed. We tell our kids that, but they don't believe us. We never had any ability to call home, or didn't need to either.
No.
So let us talk about some of the places you've been. What are your travels? Your photography. What have you loved? Do you have a particularly site? I see you brought some.
We got some examples of places that we filmed. We spent a lot of time filming in Hawaii, which was a wonderful experience.
Just Maui, or?
Oh no, all the islands. And in fact, we did the trilogy of the life cycle of the Polynesian people. We went from American Samoa, Cook Islands, across the Pacific to all of the islands, and filming in Hawaii volcanoes. And Hawaii is one of our favorite tropical locations.
So who pays you for this?
Well, as a freelancer, we worked a lot of different ways. We started our own programs that we marketed into the national parks. National parks were a big part of our career and our business cycle for 25 years or so, and still is.
So you've been a freelancer how long? From the start?
From the start, really.
What, 1987? I
Yeah.
think it was.
Normally we think of freelancers as people who've been downsized by Wall Street.
Right.
So it's wonderful to see someone been able to do that and afford a nice sweater. So
Yeah,
that's good.
it's good. Keeps me warm. The other place that we love is Yellowstone National Park. And if anybody wants to go visit a park that's incredibly spectacular, this is it. And our kids had a strange introduction to it. Why don't you tell them about what our...
Oh, so Yellowstone, and if you ever go, he asked how did he survive. We would follow the protocol of the National Park Service and get every word and every picture approved in one of these pieces, and then you'll find it in their visitor centers.
Right.
So that's how.
Oh, it has to be approved?
Has to
Oh,
be
absolutely.
approved by every ranger that works at that park. But anyway,
We
so
work
that
very-
because they don't want to give out false information. They have
Yeah.
Oh, I
accurate
was gonna ask you
information on
what-
their parks. Yes. But the Yellowstone, the most fun, oh my goodness. Well, it was a fun and a challenge.
Yeah, it was a challenge.
He kept talking about the Lamar Valley because it reminded him so much of Africa. And so, okay, so there's this little bitty campground down the dusty road, and we'd stay down there, and then 4:30 every day, you're up, you're out, you're going, because you might be able to see a wolf.
A wolf.
The wolves were released in Lamar Valley. And oh my gosh, the kids know that, boom, yeah, we're going, let's go.
And they were
you
glued
get
to
up
the-
there and here you're late because there's already 30 people out there looking, looking and watching for the wolves.
And we do this in the winter, and the little kids would be all bundled up, and they look like, the puffy man, and the...
Any scary animal adventures?
Well,
A big black bear chase you across the
yeah,
river?
it seems like, isn't it like always, you always hear that you were 5 minutes behind the scary part, so that was really good. Like,
Right.
oh, by the way, while you were gone, the wolf walked right through your tent or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So yeah.
Now, the big thing about filming in Yellowstone and traveling there is to have the patience to watch for things. And I think that's the difference between what we would do and the average tourist. The average tourist can go in and maybe they'd be lucky and snap a picture of a wolf or a grizzly bear, but we had to go and sit there. You had to be very, very patient, and we'd take weeks to do something that people would pass through in a day.
Ah, that's very interesting. That's a
in
very
fact,
good
there's
perspective.
There's a good example if you come on Tuesday of this, because if this is in Yellowstone, and see, the number one issue is you must park in a parking spot at Yellowstone National Park. Never stop along the road. You will be
Ticketed.
Anyway, so we get this spot, and we're down there in this mucky stuff because there was a coyote or something. We're looking at this coyote. And we're standing there, and the water's up past your ankles, but you're still standing there waiting. And all of a sudden, this mama moose was there
Right,
with
mama
her
moose.
young, and so the young moose is bounding
Wow.
around, and that'll be one of the
Those
In
must
the
be
show.
exciting.
yeah. So you have to sort of be, you're not sure what's coming. But
Yeah, tell us about the show tomorrow night. What are the people going to see?
Well, we will not see all of the national parks. I have produced programs that show all of them.
there's 59 right now.
59.
Are there really?
There are
Yeah.
50 that
59.
have the word national park.
But
on
but
there.
this is something to clarify, is that people think of national parks, they have to be created by Congress. However, there are over 400 national park sites, and these include national monuments, national historical parks, military parks, recreational areas, are all within the encompasses of the national park system.
Wow.
Which is, the national park system is now 100 years old as of last year.
My. Yeah, that's. And that card will get you in all those places.
Every one of them. And you're so lucky because you are right next to one of the premier parks. The real jewel is Everglades.
I did that boat trip
Uh-huh.
through the Everglades, and we had a lot of fun with that. That was, and saw some alligators.
Yeah. And you're going to see photographs that were taken in the Everglades, but I want to confess here, this is something filmmakers don't always tell you, not everything that you see that's in the film in a given location was taken in exactly that location. And the reason is you have Luxahatchee very nearby here.
Correct.
And if you want to go, Andy would be happy to take you. And your bird life is phenomenal here.
Terrific.
Sounds
Let's
wonderful.
make a note of that, folks. Luxahatchee. All of you, of course, have been there, but I think we'll get out there. I've never been there.
So on at Tuesday at 7 p.m., we're hoping that if you come and watch, you might re-trigger some of the memories of your best trip to the national park, or maybe be inspired to go and find one of these. Well, where is that place, and how can I get there? But it's our way of saying thank you. This Briny community is everybody pitches in and does their part, and this is our way of saying thank you for all the kindness has been shown to us while we've been here.
That's nice of you to say.
And you're going to see about 25 parks. And we're going to start at sunrise on Cadillac Mountain, which is an incredible experience.
You got to tell me where that is.
Well, Cadillac is in the heart of Acadia National Park, and it's
in Maine.
In Maine, and it's the first light that touches continental United States. And then we're going to arc across the United States. We're going to get Tetons. We're going to get Badlands. We're going to get down to these parks in southern Utah. We're going to get the California parks.
Is this like a glorified pub crawl?
Yeah, kind of. For people that like parks, it is that. Yeah. The best of the parks.
Good. So what, travel misfortune, flat tire, what do you have any experiences that were a little
Shall we tell them the
strange?
secret? The
Yeah, we
secret
have a
that
secret.
we have a secret that every Brineyite, I call you all Brineyeites, might someday want to know.
Helicopter relief?
No.
Well, that is the scary. You mentioned helicopter. I must admit, the scariest moment for me was doing on the Hawaii. You want to get the really good photographs, and so they had to go in a helicopter, and the first thing they did was take the doors off. And Dennis is going, I'm home, doing all the whatever around. Anyway, so they take the doors off this helicopter, and I said, so how do they stay in there? And he said, we got this seatbelt. And I'm looking at this seatbelt. It's just like on your airplane, and that little thing flips open, and I'm like, well, he's going to be leaning out. How's that thing stay shut? So they stopped and got duct tape, and they duct taped that seatbelt shut.
All right.
So that was my scariest part.
That was smart thinking.
Well, what they were doing, we were filming for the Travel Channel, and it was we did a whole series of programs for the Travel called was it the Secrets of the
National Parks.
Secrets of National
Yes.
Parks, and it aired on the Travel Channel. And what they were after were shots of the underground rivers of lava. And so they flew this helicopter up on top of Kilauea. They landed. We had a special permit. We were with USGS.
Right,
And you were with the-
Kilauea is which island?
Big Island of
Hawaii?
Hawaii.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
So we landed, and
With the geologist, and
with
he's
the geologist.
dipping. This man had this can on a long pole, and he was to dip the lava.
He did.
All right, that was his job.
He dipped the lava, and then my job was to film him. The only problem, there are two problems associated with this. One, my lens cap started to melt. It was that hot. It was about
Wow.
2,000 degrees. And then all of a sudden, I'd just gotten the shots I needed, just barely gotten them, and the pilot of the helicopter shouts, "Get in the copter now!" And I didn't think anything about it. I ran as fast as I could. I threw my $100,000 camera into the helicopter, dove in, and he took off, and it fog. But it's not fog, it's VOG. And this volcanic fog is sulfuric acid.
Oh, acid. not
And
ash.
it will burn your lungs out in a matter of time. But the worst thing was it will kill the engine because there's not enough oxygen in it. We took off in this fog. You couldn't see what you were doing. And he pointed down out of the mountain.
I haven't
and
even finished my coffee, Dennis. Take it easy here. You're scaring the heck of the crew is running for the door.
We made it, though. We got back. And that was the same trip that Jan had me buckled in. So.
That is, I never heard of a lava dipper. or what do you call it, VOG?
VOG, yeah.
Wow.
It's, VOG, bog.
Wow. That's something you don't hear of. That's a very fascinating story.
Yeah.
Now, what have you done in the Northeast? You said Acadia. Is Pennsylvania, Lake George?
No,
Civil War.
Civil War battlefields. We did a program
Okay.
called that showed all of the battlefields within a day's drive of
I live in the Northeast, that's why I think.
Washington D.C. And you've got Antietam, you've got Manassas, you've got Fredericksburg. You got all those incredible. I mean,
So are you guys writing a book of your wanderings?
That's hard work.
Ah,
Photography's easy.
Yes.
no, well, photography's not easy. What type of camera do you use?
Oh well, we have okay. So times have changed. We started off with film cameras,
Yeah,
and we went from film to then we used tape cameras,
right.
and then we went from tape to digital, and we've currently ended up. I'll give you a little show and tell here. Reach down.
Yeah. So my job, I was always a schleppy. So my job was to get all the gear needed to where you're going to go. So it always had your backpack with all the extra lenses and then the tripod. And then he'd point, and you have to sneak over. And if you do this with my brother, he's developed this very well. You sneak over quietly, and you have to set your tripod up and get there without disturbing whatever
Wow.
it was you want to do. Okay, so-
Interesting. And this camera, I see it's a Sony.
This is a Sony. This is called the EX3. It's actually a phenomenal camera. It's 3 years old. It costs about $12,000,
Wow.
and it's obsolete.
Wow, wow.
So it's amazing. This is
Now, digital, just the technique, what does digital mean
well,
exactly?
digital means instead of putting it on film, instead of putting it on your tape, you're going to be put it on little discs like these. They come in many different sizes. These happen to be a proprietary Sony product that you store your images on, and then you transfer it into an editing system, a nonlinear editing system that uses digital shots. And so you no longer have to string this stuff. When I started, I had a garbage can about this big and a thing that I put little clips, clothes clips.
Okay.
And you had to cut your film apart and roll it together. And this, to me, is an incredible change.
When you, how does this get into a print or onto screens, or you just keep it digital all the
It
time?
stays digital. That's the beauty, is with all the other mediums, there was a period of loss. In other words, quality loss as you went along. With the digital world, you keep the same quality that you started with for the most things.
So how do you view it?
Well, it's either broadcast or we release things on DVDs like that. I mean, so.
My aforementioned son is now working for a streaming company that's all digital.
Well,
And he explains it to me, but it's absolutely amazing.
Well, actually, ironically, for freelance photographers, the streaming and digital world has almost killed the business. When we were involved for many years, we would sell tens of thousands of these DVDs through the national outlets, any of the Publishers Clearinghouse, Time Life, etc. Now, when you stream, you only get pennies, and so you're reaching more people, but you're not making a living.
Very interesting. That's that could be a whole topic of it is the future. His company is the future. He's worked for quite a few development companies, and this company is really doing gangbusters. And he says, well, and it's all aimed at the 20-year-olds.
Right.
It's because that's what they do. They don't read newspapers. They don't go to the movies. They just stream everything. So, well, this is
So whatever camera, so he would have different lenses and then different filters, so you get the sunrise and the sunset to look just the way you want. But each and every one of them has to be clean.
Yeah.
So then you're always
Jam
running
or
around
jam.
trying to clean and make sure, because no matter how hard you've worked, if you got that little speck of sand or drop of rain, then you can't use the picture.
well. If this
so.
$12,000 baby is approaching obsolescence, what's the new?
Oh,
Well,
it's right there.
it's right
on
there.
The desk,
You
right?
have one. In fact, I will tell you that the quality of your phone video-wise is 4K in the case of this particular Apple product,
Right.
which is 4 times better than the high definition that I shoot with this. And I would say they're going to only improve these phones. They're already equal in quality in terms of the digital quality.
I'm
to
amazed.
that camera.
I'm really blown away here. But I've heard that said before, and
You could take a photograph. I could take video of you with this
yeah.
and put it on national broadcast, and it would be of high enough quality.
It's all copyrighted trademark here. We can't
Oh, I'm
allow
sorry.
any of that stuff.
You know, I'd get your release first.
Lawyers never give it a release.
So just double check that the focus on your camera and the lens is clean.
So are you going to bring any of this stuff to show and tell tomorrow night?
Probably not. We'll see. We're going to bring ourselves, and we're going to bring a great show. It'll be about 40 minutes in length, unless, you know.
Good. Well, the Treasurer's Report takes 20 minutes. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so you'll be all set. It's a typical travel club. Folks, it's really been a pleasure talking with you. I've met you before, but this has been more than interesting. And thank you, Susan Attlee and Harold Kelly, for being our main photographers. And that's it. Welcome. See you tomorrow night, Briny, over at the auditorium, 6:30.
No, it's
7 o'clock.
7
Well,
o'clock.
they come on at 7, but you can go.
Okay.
And, you can go get a glass.
And we'll
of
be
coffee.
there, happy to answer questions and talk before and afterwards. So
Good.
we're very accessible. Please say hi.
Thanks very much, folks. See you next week.
We will double your cash award.
Sweet, sweet Marie, made of this.